Welcome back, everyone. Today we're heading into the archives, really digging into a case from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. It spans the late 90s, early 2000s. And our goal here is really to understand, well, frankly, one of the most brutal and, for a time, baffling serial murder cases in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, it really was baffling. You had this string of sudden deaths, people just dying from poisoning. And for years, authorities were stumped, seemingly unconnected victims, until they found the one constant, the single woman who knew or had interacted with every single one of them.
And that woman was Lê Thanh Vân, a name that became infamous. She earned this really chilling title, the Cyanide Witch.
China, yeah.
Or the Demon of Vietnam, aptly named, unfortunately. The confirmed count is 13 victims, but the sources we've looked at suggest the real number could be way higher, maybe, up to 26 people?
It's staggering. Truly one of the region's most prolific female serial killers. It's quite the story.
So let's start where the police did. They weren't initially looking for a murderer at all, were they?
No, not at first. It started smaller, more mundane almost. Early 2000, they arrest this woman using a fake name, Lê Lan. And the charges were just fraud and robbery. Standard stuff, really. But then they search her place.
And that's when things took a very dark turn.
Exactly. They found 2.88 grams of potassium cyanide.
Which sounds like a small amount, but...
It's incredibly lethal. The sources say that's enough to kill about 10 people. Instantly.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, suddenly this wasn't about petty theft anymore. This woman, hiding behind a fake ID, was sitting on a stockpile of poison. And maybe, just maybe, she was the link to all those unexplained deaths.
So who was she? Lê Thanh Vân. We need to understand the person behind these acts.
Right. Well, she was born back in 56 in Saigon, now Ho Chi Minh City, of course. Her older brother died young, which made her the eldest of 9 kids.
That's a lot of responsibility early on.
It is. And reports from siblings later on paint a picture of someone pretty cold, hard, unyielding. There were even stories about high tendencies towards violence, taking out frustrations on family pets, that sort of thing, which is often a red flag, as we know.
Definitely. And her life didn't exactly follow a stable path after that, did it?
Not at all. She actually went to military medical school for dentistry, but dropped out. Never finished.
Okay.
Instead, crime seemed to be her path. First documented thing was trying to cross the border illegally. That got her 16 months in a re-education camp.
Right.
Then, just a few years later, in 1979, arrested again, this time for impersonating an army captain.
So a pattern of deception early on. Not quite murder yet, but...
No, but you see the seeds, maybe. Small-time crime was just like the prelude.
And this instability, this deception, it seemed to bleed into her relationships too, her first marriage.
To Nguyen Quang Minh, yeah. That was 1984. They had 2 kids together.
Yeah.
But after only 5 years, Minh dies.
Under, quote, mysterious circumstances.
Exactly. And interestingly, the records about the children just stop after his death. We don't know what happened to them.
That's disturbing in itself. Then she does some time for fraud, gets out, and marries again in 91. Lê Thanh Vân.
And here's where the timeline really speeds up, doesn't it?
Yeah. How long did this marriage last?
Just 1 year. Then he dies, too. Again, mysteriously.
Okay, so 5 years for the first husband, 1 year for the second. Both die suddenly. And both times.
She inherits. Assets, money. It's a clear pattern.
It seems so obvious in hindsight, doesn't it? Testing the waters, maybe? Figuring out how to get away with it for financial gain. Why wasn't there more suspicion then?
Well, you have to remember the context. Vietnam in the late 80s, early 90s, record keeping wasn't always centralized like it is now. Forensics were pretty basic compared to today.
Right.
So if someone, especially someone maybe middle-aged or a bit older, suddenly collapses, dizziness, heart failure, it could easily get written off as a stroke or just, natural causes.
Plausible deniability built right in.
Pretty much. Unless the family really pushed for a full, proper autopsy, which often didn't happen, it created this sort of low-risk environment for her to maybe perfect her method.
Perfecting the method?
Yeah.
That leads us to the Chung family incident, October 92. This one is just horrifying.
It really is. She gets a job as a housekeeper for this wealthy family, the Chungs, and one day she makes chicken noodle soup.
For 4 family members and herself.
Right, and while she eats her portion, presumably untainted, the 4 family members get violently ill. Intense nausea, vomiting, just immediate severe symptoms.
And the detail from the father, Mr. Chung. He said while they were all suffering, Van just stood there.
Watching them.
Smiling. It's pure evil.
It is. And the mother, Bowie, she died from it. The father and 2 kids survived, thankfully.
But again, the system failed, in a way. Forensics in 92 just weren't advanced enough.
Apparently not enough to definitively prove poisoning in court. So based on the father's testimony about missing items, they could only charge her with theft and embezzlement.
Not murder.
Not murder. She got almost 5 years for the theft.
A tragedy, really. But for Vaughn, it must have been a lesson learned.
Absolutely. If they aren't specifically looking for poison, they probably won't find it. And it's worth mentioning why cyanide is so effective for this kind of thing.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, basically, it stops your cells from using oxygen, shuts down energy production at a cellular level. That's why the symptoms are so rapid and severe: vomiting, convulsions, cardiac arrest.
It is hard to detect.
Very. Often colorless, mostly odorless, especially if you mix it into something with a strong flavor like, say, lemonade.
Which brings us to her next known victim, right after she gets out of prison in 97.
She gets out, lies about her dental training, remember she dropped out, and gets a job at a dental clinic.
Owned by Een Van Kam. And then she marries again. Third husband. A coworker. Si Young Kwang.
Right. But the clinic, it wasn't doing too well financially, and the owner's mother suggests maybe laying off Vaughn's new husband, Kwang, to cut costs.
Seems like a reasonable suggestion in a tough time.
To most people, yes. But to Vaughn, that suggestion was apparently a death sentence.
For the mother.
For the mother, January 3rd, 1998, Vaughn serves the owner's mother lemonade, spiked with a high dose of cyanide.
And the result?
Agonizing death within about 30 minutes. And while everyone's distracted by the horror, Vaughn steals 900,000 dun.
Let's talk about that amount again. 900,000 dun. We need to give people perspective. At that time, that wasn't a huge fortune, was it?
No, not on a global scale. We're talking maybe a few hundred US equivalent. Maybe.
So she's committing murder, risking execution for relatively small amounts now.
Exactly. That's the really chilling shift here. It's not just about big inheritances anymore. It becomes opportunistic, casual almost, killing for pocket money, for small items. She becomes incredibly fearless.
And this kicks off a really vicious pattern over the next few years.
Absolutely. The killings escalate both in frequency and audacity. She starts targeting anyone, family, acquaintances, even strangers.
Like the security guard in mid-98. Question in.
Right. Lured him with a fake land deal. Just a $500,000 payment involved. Poisons his drink, he dies. Then she robs his house for maybe double that. Still not large sums.
Then her own mother-in-law.
Van Vangine, yeah. Poison tea in 1999. The inheritance. Just 2.88 million ong.
It's just, the calculation is terrifying. And it gets crueler still. Tell us about Huntai Mogo.
Oh, that one's particularly cold. She lures this woman, Ao, to a supposed health check. Poisons her food from a roadside stall.
But Ao survives, initially.
Initially, yes. She gets hospitalized. And Vaughn volunteers to help nurse her back to health.
Oh.
Yes. And then, while caring for her that night in the hospital, she gives her a second fatal dose of cyanide, made absolutely sure she wouldn't survive.
Just pure predatory behavior, erasing any chance of being identified.
And she got better at covering her tracks, too. Like, after killing Melanin Vanong and Chansin, that was a bigger score, about 200 million, she actually created fake documents. Made it look like they'd bought her car.
So she's anticipating questions about the money. Planning ahead.
Showing she knew exactly which assets might raise suspicion if police ever connected her.
Her final acts before getting caught just show utter contempt. The dress shop owner, Voot Teen.
Right. Kills her. But doesn't just steal money this time. She actually impersonates someone else, uses a fake name. Lam An Ao takes over the victim's shop.
Oh, unbelievable.
And then illegally sells Tung's land for 40 million. Just steps right into her life.
And the final murder we know about, Ningwen Trung Su in 2001.
That one might be the most audacious. Kills him, steals his motorcycle and cell phone. Yeah, okay, standard robbery for her at this point. But then she inserts herself into the funeral arrangements, helps manage it, and then embezzles 2.88 million OG from the funeral funds.
Stealing from the grief offerings for the man she just murdered.
It's hard to fathom that level of callousness.
But her luck, or rather, her run of escaping justice, finally ran out. How did they finally get her?
Well, remember that fraud investigation from the beginning? Police were still tracking her for those financial crimes, and then they made the connection. Her known illegal possession of that cyanide.
The 2.88 grams.
Exactly. They connected that to this pattern of unexplained deaths among people she knew or interacted with. Finally, they had the leverage.
So they arrested her.
October 15th, 2001. Initially, it might have been on a lesser charge, like possessing dangerous substances, but it got her off the streets. It stopped the killing spree and gave them time to build the full murder case.
And the trial, I imagine, caused a huge stir.
Oh, massive media frenzy. That's when the name Cyanide Witch really stuck. And during the trial, Van denied everything. Vehemently.
Of course. Did she try to blame anyone else?
She did. Tried to implicate her third husband, Quang.
The one whose job suggestion led to the clinic owner's mother being killed.
That's the one. But Quang confessed. Admitted he knew some of what she was doing, though maybe not full extent. And he explicitly said he cooperated because he was terrified he'd be her next victim.
Can't blame him, really. What happened to him?
He got 17 years in prison for his complicity.
And Van. Was there any talk of her mental state?
There was. She was diagnosed with psychological issues, according to the reports, but it didn't negate her responsibility.
So the verdict.
September 1st, 2004, convicted. 13 counts of murder, plus robbery, illegal possession of toxins. The sentence was death.
And the sentence was carried out.
Yes. Lê Thanh Vân was executed by firing squad on October 26, 2005.
Are there accounts of her final moments?
There are. And they're quite striking. Apparently, on the morning of the execution, she completely broke down, screaming, refusing to leave her cell. She even refused her favorite last meal.
A final act of defiance or just terror?
Hard to say, but her very last request was, well, it was poignant, in a dark way. She asked for her blindfold to be removed.
Why?
She said she wanted to see the world one last time before she died. It's quite a contrast, isn't it? Someone who treated human life so cheaply, who snuffed it out for a motorcycle or a few million ong, clinging to the sight of the world in her final seconds.
A world she definitely made darker. It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? In that specific time and place, with forensics still developing, how many others might have been operating like her? Getting away with murder disguised as natural causes, all for minimal gain.
It's a disturbing thought.
Indeed. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. If you found this exploration into the archives of true crime compelling, please do consider hitting that like button. Maybe share it with someone who'd appreciate the detail. And of course, for more in-depth reports like this one, make sure you subscribe to the Horror Doc channel.
We appreciate you listening.
We do. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.